everybody. Welcome back to The Hidden Place. My name is Renee Mayers, and this week we are going to be talking about honesty in the hidden place. This is going to be one of the last episodes. The next episode will be a quick wrap up, and then the series will be finished. Thank you all for joining me over this time. It's been so delightful to hear some of the feedback and the comments that you guys have made, and it's been really encouraging. And I'm so glad that this is having an impact. I wasn't going to talk about honesty, to be honest. That's kind of corny. I wasn't going to be talking about honesty, but I felt that the Holy Spirit laid it on my heart to speak about honesty because, quite frankly, sometimes it can be really hard for us to be honest with God. So, and yet He values it so much. And the funny thing is, He already knows how you're feeling. He already knows how you're doing. He already knows everything that's going on with you. He knows all the tough stuff. He knows all the good stuff. He knows all the hurt and all the pain. And yet He places such a high value for us to come and be with Him and to be honest with Him about it. And that value comes from that heart He has for us with friendship and intimacy. It's the same as if you have, your best friends in your lives who you do everything with, or, there's that core group of people that you can trust and that you can go to with your hurts and your wounds and just do life together. At least I hope you have those people in your life. We all need them. And it's very important to have a community around you that is open to that you can do life with. And it's the same thing with Jesus, right? He wants to be the most intimate friend, and for us to take how we're doing to Him first before we share it with others. And this has been an interesting journey for me, growing up in the church, where religion was there for sure, right? And you think to yourself, you get to believe that lie after a while, that I have to be perfect before I come and talk to Jesus. He doesn't want to hear everything that's wrong with me. I just have to be perfect and come to Him because then He'll listen and He'll answer what I need. And, it's a complete lie. It's a complete lie. When religion gets in there, it distorts and warps who God actually is, and takes away so much of the freedom that we have to come to Him as we actually are. And so I feel like He just wants to put His finger on this, because maybe there are some of you listening who have that view. Excuse me, who have that view. Uh, maybe you've grown up in the church and you're so used to not being real with Jesus because maybe you just don't think He cares anymore, or that lie of I have to be perfect and I have to be nothing can be wrong with me to come to Him because He doesn't want to listen, or he expects me to be perfect, is a complete lie, my friends. Or that whole I'm just going to suffer this in silence and be a martyr and come to Him and pretend to be happy. I was in that place once. That was an interesting experience. Not wanting to complain to Him about how rough things were, and then so I didn't. I tried not to, and yet coming to Him with how you're doing, legitimately how you're doing, isn't always complaining. Sometimes it's just being honest. So I wonder if there are a few of you out there right now who need to hear this. When you're being honest with Him and you're telling Him, this just really sucks, you can do that. You are allowed to do that. You're allowed. The complaining spirit and a complaining heart comes with the discontentment that is in those circumstances that you begin to vent to Him. Now, you don't want to complain. You don't want to get stuck complaining. Okay? He has ears to hear your complaints, guys. He really does. He knows. He knows it's hard. He knows everything. He sees how hard it is more than you do. He sees the full picture. And he knows it's hard. And you can come and you can tell him that it's hard and you can cry with him and you can weep with him. David did that in the Psalms all the time. All the time. But the key thing about David is that when he was honest with the Lord and when he was weeping before the Lord and when he was expressing his heart before the Lord and being honest with him, he didn't get stuck in the complaining. It always ended up in worshiping the Lord. He worshiped him. And so there are some of you hearing this where you've been in the church a long time and you don't want to complain, so you don't say anything to him because you think it's complaining. My friend, it may not actually be complaining. You may actually just need to be actually honest with him and just say, actually, this just really bites, and have a good cry, have a good cry with him over whatever it is, because he will honor that. He wants you to be real. He really, really wants you to be real. Maybe there are those of you listening and you're exploring this whole spiritual thing and you've been heard a couple of these and you know don't know what to make of this whole concept of a God who actually wants to hear about how you're doing. Well, he does. And you got to understand too, he's the God who created emotions and he's the God who feels emotions. So I'm going to share a story with you. I was sitting with him one day and the stories in my book too, if you guys want to if you guys are interested in that, the description, there's a description in the write up here for the podcast. But I was sitting with him one day and my heart was really heavy about some stuff that was going on with my marriage. And I sat with him and I saw that his heart was bleeding as well, because I tend to see in the spirit realm. And I looked at him and I was like, why is your heart bleeding? He's like, because yours is. Think about that for a minute. His heart was bleeding because my heart was bleeding. He was grieving alongside me, right? Now, I honor my husband, love him, but everybody knows marriage is not easy. And in that particular moment, I just really needed to know that Jesus saw my pain and felt it with me, and he did. I would not have known that if I hadn't have been able to be honest with him and just bluntly say, this really sucks. And he agreed with me. It did. It did. And he grieved with me and he cried with me. Now, I'm a happily married woman, guys. That was just one instance. Everyone knows marriage can be hard, right? I love my husband and honor him. But that was just a really powerful experience for me to see that, because he was able to feel those emotions with me. So he is a God who made emotions. He is a God who honors emotions. And he wants to sit with you in the middle of yours. And if we're not actually honest with him about how we're really doing, if religion has beat that out of us because we think we're not allowed to be, or if we just are believing the lie that he's not interested and that we have to be perfect and, he's an impersonal God. My friends, you rob yourself of the intimacy of friendship with him, where you can be honest with him and experience him empathizing with you, sitting with you and meeting you there. You rob yourself of that, and it's a precious, precious time with him. It's precious. What other God out there will sit with you and cry with you when you need him to? What other God out there will celebrate with, enjoy with you when you have things to celebrate? Right? When you have your babies and you're just adoring this newborn pile of squishiness and he's right there with you, adoring your child with you because he made that child. He wanted you to have that child. And it makes him so much more real to you when you're honest. And so I just feel that there are some of you out there today that need to hear this about honesty, because maybe again you're exploring this whole Jesus thing and you're looking for that deep connection with that higher being. You're looking for a deep connection with the Lord. Well, my friends, He's more than capable of meeting you there. And there are things that He wants, there are gifts and experiences that He wants to give us when we come to Him in honesty with how we're doing. And not in, again, a heart of complaint, but in a heart of, I want to bring you in, Jesus. I love you. I want you to know how I'm doing because you're my friend. It's important to me for you to know how I'm doing. And He honors that and values that so much. He really does. And there are things that He wants to share with you when you're in those times, especially in the times of hardship. And when you're being honest with Him, there are things that He will want to share with you. And you can steward those times with Him well when you're being honest with Him and saying, this just really sucks. And sit with Him in it. And I mean, I'm focusing on the tougher times because I think that's when, I don't know, sometimes we can actually find it harder to be honest with Him when we're going through difficult times and when we're not going through difficult times. I'm not quite sure why that reason is. And then I think sometimes it's harder to be honest with Him too um when we're really bogged down with anxiety and worry. Now, Christmas is coming up. The date at this original broadcast, I'm recording it on the 14th of December, 2022. It'll go out on the 15th. But Christmas is coming up, and for many, many people, it's a time of real anxiety. This is not the most wonderful time of the year. I'm sorry, but it isn't. It can be a fun time and a joyful time of seeing family and friends, but that really depends on your contacts and connections. And there are a lot of people this year who are going to have a lot of difficult firsts this year if they've lost loved ones, or there's been a lot of illness or whatever, or financial trouble, right? Because gosh, things are just crazy out there right now. Um, but when we're bogged down with anxiety and fear over how we're going to make rent this month because of Christmas, or sometimes honestly will point blank forget. We'll just forget because we're so worried that there is a God out there who will sit and listen, who will meet with us, love us, comfort us, and make a way for us through these things. And I mean, in my own life right now, I'm honestly, guys, I'm a little short of the Christmas spirit. I'm not going to lie. It's been a long, hard year for me in a lot of ways, and so, but a good year in a lot of other ways. And He's blessed it. But I'm pushing to finish off that Christmas shopping and to think about my meal for my family. And I'm not massively full of joy. And I'm sitting with Him on that, and I'm being honest with Him about that. And He knows that. And as I've been sitting with Him with this over it's been about a week or so since I finally realized what was going on. My joy is slowly increasing. My capacity to finish all of these things is increasing. And He is making my steps straight every day for the things that I need to do to get done for Christmas. And I'm finding myself enjoying the thought of it a lot more now. And I'm definitely doing a lot better with it than I was a week ago. But that was because I finally took it to Him and was just honest with Him. And I'm like, look, this just really sucks. I'm not ready. I don't feel joyful about this. Everyone tells me I'm supposed to feel joyful about this. And but I don't. It's been a hard year, and I'm not feeling massively joyful about it. And even just this morning, He was talking to me about it. And um he was a very cute baby, by the way. When Jesus came and Mary gave birth to Him, he was a very cute baby. And I asked him one time, I was like, what was she like as a mother? And he just smiled at me and he's like, oh, she was lovely. Isn't that great? Isn't that great to hear from him that he loved his mother and that she was a lovely mother? I'm sure she was a wonderful mother. But when he was talking to me today about Christmas, he was like, Chris, like all of the extra stuff is all external. It's the joy of pondering the fact that I have a birthday. I have a human birthday. I was born. And you get to celebrate and look with joy on the fact that I was born and I came as a cute, squishy baby. And my birth changed the world. And, when you look at Christmas like that, all the extra fluff doesn't matter as much because he is Christmas. He is the reason we even have it. And that just sparked a new level of joy in me today. And that conversation would never have happened if I hadn't have been honest with him and just said, I'm just not feeling it this year. So he encourages us to be honest. We see his best friends being honest with him. We see, Matthew 11:28, come to me, all you who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. What are you doing when you're coming to him? You're giving him everything. You're explaining how you're doing. You're laying things at his feet and saying, I can't do this. Or I'm feeling very burdened with this. I don't know what to do in this situation. Will you help me? And you're coming to him, and then you're able to rest. And then you're able to see what his priorities are for you. You're able to encounter his grace for you in those situations. You're able to see his heart for you in those situations because you're being honest. So, my friends, I want to bless you all for this Christmas. I know I have one more podcast that'll go out before Christmas, so stay tuned for that next week. It'll be the wrap up of the series. But I want to bless you. I want to bless you to see this week that being honest with the God who so deeply loves you and treasures you is one of the best things you can do. And meeting with him and knowing that he made the emotions that you're feeling, he understands those emotions and he wants to sit with you in those emotions. And just be honest with him and let him love you there. Let him love you. Let him love you. I just encourage you with that. Let him love you in that place. Steward that time with him well and sit with him and offer these things to him. Sometimes, as I mentioned last week, it's very hard to worship him when we're in difficult times. Very, very hard. But you can offer your pain to him as a sacrifice as well and worship him in it and say, I'm hurting. This really sucks, but I'm bringing it to you because I love you and I want you in it with me and I want to honor you in it and I need your help with it. And stewarding this time with him well and being honest with him, friends, it'll change how you see him. It'll change your walk with him. And so, if this is something you really struggle with, I would just bless you to know that he's waiting and he really wants you to do it. And no, there's no shame and there's no guilt and no self condemnation. It is okay for you to feel the way that you feel. It is okay for you to come to him with everything that you're struggling with. It's perfectly okay. He already knows it anyway, my friends. And there will be no shame, no guilt, and no self condemnation or condescension. Sometimes we think God will just look down on us and be like, seriously, you know what? He's never done that to me. And he will never do that to you because that's not God's love. That isn't love. So if that's what you're worried about, I would just encourage you to swallow your fear and to do it anyway and watch and see what happens because that's a lie from the enemy trying to stop you from coming to Jesus. Satan doesn't want you near Jesus, right? And all those lies of, it's not big enough for Jesus to worry about. Nope, that's not big enough for Jesus to worry about is a complete lie. He's interested in the minutiae details of your life because he knows every detail of your life and he's interested in it. And so I would just bless you and encourage you to be honest with him this season about how you're doing and to sit with him in it and to bring it to his feet and to see what he does. See what he does. So, my friends, that's it for this week. Bless you. Take care, and we will chat with you next week. Bye.